They're celebrating his birthday there today. I don't know where to start, so I'll start at the beginning. God, God, and only God. The readings that Jeff read from, three of my favorites. The Course in Miracles. I've been a student for many years, as my brother Reverend Ron is a teacher and student as well. Anytime I hear anything from the Course in Miracles, my heart quickens a bit because it's a language that I understand, and it's helped me transform and heal my life through deep forgiveness work. And as Rena just said, standing in the light, knowing who I am, covers it all. So the other reading was at Abraham, right? That's Anita's favorite. Anita's a student of Abraham. So I hear about Abraham all the time. She calls him Abraham Hicks, like they really have a last name. They don't. I think that's kind of funny. And of course, Reverend Michael's reading about enthusiasm. And I'm a very enthusiastic person about life itself. So in theos, meaning of God, I'm very enthusiastic to be here today. And when Patricia and Jessica invited me, of course I said yes, because I can't say no to myself. Since God is my real self, anytime God is asking something of me, I need to learn to say yes. And a lot of times in my life I said no, because I didn't think I was ready. I had to prepare myself and had the right things in order. And none of that is really true. As my brother Ron and I talk about each and every day, everything is preparation for the next moment of now. So I'm ready now to let God be God as me, standing in the light as who I am, of who I really am. That leads to my topic today. Freedom is another word for ... When, did you call me? Yes. Jessica called me. And she asked me for the topic. I was dumbfounded, like, I don't know! Freedom is another word for what? Liberation. And then I said love, praise, and gratitude. And I think of those three things as the Beatitudes, the attitudes of being. We are midwives to a new age. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
We are on the cusp of the Aquarian age, which means the age where we get to really identify who we are and live from that space. The Piscean age was about forgiveness, finding out who we were and then forgiving all the nonsense that wasn't us. So we are gathered here. We have been called out as midwives to usher in the Aquarian age through absolute knowingness. So what does that mean, really? Akili, what does that mean? That means that as spiritual beings, having a human experience, I don't believe that. Because hu in Sanskrit means God. So there is no such thing as a human experience. It's a God experience. A spiritual being revealing God in this dimension called humanity, or in the Bible would say, the valley of the shadow of death. That is the earth plane. So we're actually bringing God into the earth plane and having the experience of God, but there's no such thing as a human experience. We actually use that as an excuse for the mistakes that we make on this path. But let me tell you, there are no mistakes.
Yes.
We're on what Joseph Campbell called a hero's journey. We came out of the light into this experience, to express. God is getting to experience in this density. But it's not a separate experience from God. We're just realizing more of our real self through this contrasting experience, through this so-called density. So, I like that. No, I like the way it feels in my heart, not that I said it. You know what I mean? So, let me go back to that. We came into this experience for an experience.
Yes.
So how could there be a mistake if this is the game we're playing? If God created us out of itself, and it did, and said, you are my beloved, I've put everything into you, now go forth and multiply that consciousness. What does that really mean? That means God is in this experience, multiplying itself through and as us. So we have a wonderful opportunity to experience life without guilt, without saying, oh, all the mistakes I made, without our story, so to speak. We all came in with a story, a well-crafted one, that was on purpose so that we could access our real self. And through the process of real forgiveness, the giving forth of erroneous ideas, concepts, beliefs, experiences, memories that appear to block the fullness of our being. When we let go of that, knowing that we're playing the game right, we didn't do anything wrong for the things that we have to forgive. We just didn't know.
Right.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So it makes sense that anything that is an obstruction to the pure light of my heart or your heart or my mind needs to be given forth. Just given forth. Not begged for mercy, not self-flagellation. You know what I was going to say, huh? That's how you said the word. But through loving awareness of our true identity, let me just give forth this stuff that someone may trigger in me. And I would be prone to say, what is wrong with them? But the truth of the matter is, in spiritual law and spiritual principle, it's set up for everyone to assist each other in their growth and development. Whether they appear to be an impediment or an irritation, not true. They're there. If you're irritatable, somebody's going to walk up to you and irritate you until you forgive it. Until you see that, what they're irritating in me, I'm the one holding it. They can leave, but I'm still going to be holding whatever they triggered in me. So it's my responsibility and my ability to say, oh, thank you for triggering that in me. Now I can empty that out. That's no longer in my cup, and I can keep walking into my sense of self-awareness, called ascension. Ascending to my true state of being. Yes. No, I was hearing something else. So having said that, I want to context that. I did context that with our hero's journey. So everything is perfect. There are no mistakes. Everything is in divine order always. But if we're blinded by our own sense of selfishness, or let's just say ego, that little ephemeral, almost non-existent entity that we give our power to and call it a big ego, it's nothing. What did I just say? No, we're talking about before that. Give our power away to something called ego. My goodness. I don't want to talk about the ego. I'm talking about the Spirit of the living God when we re-identify. That's it. Thank you. In order to relinquish or let go of that sense of the false self, the sense of making mistakes, the sense of making errors, we need to turn our attention, as it says in the Bible, turn the other cheek. Re-identify ourselves properly with the Creator. The Creator created us, blemishless, without any blemishes, without any stuff, but just pure spirit. And anything unlike that, we get to turn away from and identify ourselves properly, speak our word, and have that experience. So, having said that, that leads me into the topic of love, praise, and gratitude. The Beatitudes, the attitudes of being. Love. What is love? Is it a noun or a verb?
A verb.
Why is it a verb?
It's a state of being.
State of being. Exactly. But most people think love is, I love you, you love me. It's affection. But love is the foundation of the universe. It's the binding force that keeps everything together. So we're always in love. Even if we're not in a special relationship, we're still in love, because love is what this universe is made of. So if we don't access that, or if we don't have that awareness, of course we might feel like we're not in love. Untrue. So with the re-identification with the Spirit of the living God, we're automatically back in love in our own mind. I'm always in love. And even in my personal life, from baby to now, I love being in love. I love being in relationship. I love sharing love. But I know it's God's love I'm sharing. I'm never sharing my own personal love. And when I have and did, it didn't work out. Because that's not what God is doing. God is not a personal love. It's a universal love that we all access and swim in. So with that as our identity, we can never fail. We can always come back to our course wherever we are because we re-identified with the love that we are. Make sense?
Yes.
That feels good to me.
Yes.
The other word, love, leads us to praise. What is praise? Praise is the plural of pray. It's prayer, as we've been taught, is to sit and speak the word to God about what we may want. Now, we're in a New Thought church, so we know we're not praying to a God outside of ourselves. We're not asking for anything. We're actually re-identifying ourselves, getting in alignment, recognizing and realizing that everything is within our being, and we're just calling it forth and allowing that spirit to come through us and express as praise. Now, I can praise my head off because there's so much stuff to praise. There are beautiful people. There are beautiful dresses. These two ladies are dressed just magnificently. People have beautiful earrings on. I see beautiful smiles. There's no lack of things to praise. I was standing out front before we came in, looking at the sun, looking at all the sun rays.
Yes.
Look at that. I'm praising the sun, so I'm constantly in prayer. In the Bible it says ceaseless prayer. Stay in prayer. That doesn't sound practical, does it? If you believe that I need to sit down and pray, or I need to sit down and meditate. But if I know that my word is law, and everything I speak is a prayer, and everything I see I can praise, I'm constantly in praise. So I stand as love, I'm praising life, and what does that lead to? Gratitude. And gratitude is the magnet, or the, what is that they say in Star Trek? The tractor beam. The tractor beam that pulls to us everything, experiences, opportunities that we can continue to be grateful for. Now, if we lack gratitude, if we're always pissed off at what we're, is that okay?
Yes.
If we think we're out of alignment with life and we get irritated, well, what does that mean? We can be guaranteed that we're going to pull to us more things that we can be pissed off about or out of alignment with, instead of grateful for what shows up. Now, having talked about forgiveness a little bit, we should be grateful for whatever shows up. The stuff that angers us, be grateful for it. We transmute it through our love. It's just coming to us to show us, hey, there's something you want to look at and transform. And through forgiveness, the giving forth of the idea, the record, the memory, dissolved. Because really, it's not real. The only thing that is real, according to the Course in Miracles, is God's love. Only God's thoughts are real thoughts. The little ephemeral thoughts that we have that we think are intelligent, that sometimes are right and sometimes are wrong, those aren't God's thoughts. Those are our personal thoughts that we've psyched off from the source and made them personal. The only real things are the thoughts of God, the activity of God. And that's the reality of our being. And that's what we get to access through love, praise, and gratitude. Now, life isn't easy. It's like I said, we were midwives. And as most of the women would know, giving birth can be messy. Yes?
Yes.
It can be difficult. It can be challenging. It can be painful. All of that. But that does not determine exactly what our experience can be. So, as I say that, I just had an NDE or a deja vu. I don't know which one it is. Did I have a near-death experience because I saw my own life lie before me? Or was it deja vu because I feel like I've seen all of you before?
Yes.
It's amazing. I'm having an awesome experience right here. So, back to the topic of love, praise, and gratitude. As we stand, as we identify ourselves with our source, which is love, which is God, which is the presence of pure spirit which can never be hurt, harmed, or endangered. We've heard what could be platitudes, but our practice is which makes those things real. I could sit up here and say love, praise, and gratitude, and they can just be words. But if we practice them, then they become real and they become our experience of life. And I have to tell you, they are real. Love is real. True prayer is real. As she sings and they play, that is a living prayer. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us. Through song, I'm speaking. But we all are together in this living vortex, and we're creating something here. We've created something already that is going to, as the prayer flags, this that I'm speaking about, this that you are vortexing, is already affecting the entire planet. Just as the scientists will say, when a butterfly flaps its wings, it's felt on the other side of the world.
Right.
That shows how powerful we are as spiritual beings. And I'm just, woo! Power! I'm just overwhelmed with the joy of that recognition, of that realization right now.
Yes.
I'm looking out and seeing nothing but smiling faces. That's like, wow, how cool is that?
Yes.
Because anybody can speak words, but the frequency and the vibration, as Valerie is teaching with the book Frequency, the vibration and the frequency that we're carrying in here, that we're going to carry out, is changing the planet.
Yes.
So the practice of love, real love, the practice of ceaseless prayer, and absolute gratitude is the key to it all.
Yes.
That keeps our frequency high,
Yes.
it keeps our vibration up, and no matter what's going on in our personal world or the planet, we stay one vibration above it. We see it with the eye of God, and we bless it and change it all.
Yes.
That's what makes us midwives. That is what makes us practitioners of truth.
Yes.
Not badges on our shirts, not because we've taken classes and passed tests. That's not it. It's the constant, daily, breath by breath, moment by moment, acknowledgement and practice of the presence of God.
Yes.
That is our charge, that is our responsibility, and it's a gift. Because as I stand here and listen to myself, I have this overwhelming remembrance that I didn't create myself.
Yes.
The Course in Miracles says God created me.
Yes.
So the pressure's off if I turn it over to God.
Yes.
If I say, oh, I didn't create myself. I'm not beating my heart. I'm not firing my mind. Something else is doing that includes me. That automatically makes me grateful.
Yes. Yes.
My heart just automatically opens. And guess what? More of that is coming to me by divine law.
Yes.
That's the law of circulation. That's the law of correspondence.
Yes.
So having said all of that, I want to say more about that. I want to say more about gratitude. I am. Thank you, Thorne. Gratitude. When we were created in the image and likeness of God, gratitude is just a part of our being. It's nothing we really have to think about. We have to think about being thankful in particular. But gratitude is just a part of us. So if we know that, and we're constantly accessing that, and constantly practicing that gift, we're always good. But sometimes we're not thankful for a particular situation. We can still be grateful. I'm thankful for the food that I bless and eat. I might not be so thankful for the meat that somebody's eating sitting next to me. But if I'm awake to myself, I'm not going to judge what somebody else is doing because I know everything is God. Everything is working together for God's good and the individual good. And I get to bless this person, not with judgment, but with true eyesight that everything is God, everything is working together for good. I live in a lawful, friendly, loving, spiritual universe. So if I really say that and believe that, I shouldn't have any judgments about what anybody is eating, even what they're thinking.
Yes.
That is their life. But if I'm an awakened one, or if I say I'm awakened, My responsibility is to see and be only God. You feel me?
Yes.
That's an awesome responsibility, of course.
Yeah.
But it's a great gift, too. Because everything we give away, we keep and we get. Just like right now. Everything I'm saying, it might be going out and around the planet, but it's staying and coming back in my auric field. So anytime I bless you, that blessing is actually staying with me.
Yes.
And I get the blessing. I get to be uplifted.
Yes.
I get to ascend.
Yes.
So, the game of life and how to play it. Many ways. But today, love, my identity, praise, my practice, and gratitude, my awareness.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
I was just checking time. How much time do I have left? 5 minutes. Okay. Yes, I was looking at Sister Kathleen here. Kathleen traveled to Egypt with me and Anita and some other people last year. And I've had a great opportunity to travel the world. And I've been a student, a spiritual aspirant for a long time in my life, so wherever my heart led me, I would follow. And I was thinking about, after we spoke about in the meditation, she was back in Egypt and so was I. Just immediately went into meditation, like, wow, back at the pyramid. But what that made me think of was all of the study I've done, all the travel I've done, all of the forgiveness I've done for myself. If I was to wrap it all up and say, what have I really learned? What really makes sense? What has my life really been about? I think of the master teacher Jesus saying, love God with all your heart and mind and soul. Love yourself and love your neighbor as yourself.
Yes.
Those three match with love, praise, and gratitude. You see that?
Yes.
If I love God with all my heart and soul, and since I'm the image and likeness of God, created by God, not my body, my being, and I love my neighbor as that, I'm covered. That means I'm walking and talking and being in love all the time.
Yes.
That's the same as love, praise, and gratitude. Identified with love, keep prayer on my lips, gratitude in my heart. I can walk with a living, loving awareness, knowing that that Spirit even goes before me, making my way easy, prosperous, wonderful, and successful. That is our charge. And I give that charge to you.
Yes.
Because you're a part of the Agape extended community. And our charge, Agape means unconditional love.
Yes.
It's not a location. It's the love of God operating in what they call the human heart. So I leave you today with that awareness and a blessing of, remember, the ascension attitudes that keep us above the fray are love, praise, and gratitude. I thank you. I
Yes.
love you.
Yes.
And I thank you again. It's my pleasure to be here and to feel all this that's flowing through me, that's flowing through you, and this living vortex. OC Soul. I love it. Thank you so much. I'd like to call the ushers forward now. I thought Jeff was going to do that. I'm sorry.
Song isn't on the program, but it's one of my favorite songs to sing.
Oh,
For you guys. Oh, are you doing the benediction?
no, not yet. I believe this is our circulation time.
Okay.
So let us all stand in the current. I don't have to stand, I just meant you stand your life. The truth is, we're always standing in the current. We're always standing in and as the presence of God. So this is our time of giving and receiving. So the principles of circulation, as we give, so we receive. And we're always giving to ourselves. So we open our hearts now, recognize the power and the presence of our source and our destiny. We recognize the God presence that indwells us and overshadows us. The God presence that is extending and expressing itself through and as us, as our sacred identity, as this sacred circle, as this life that we're living. So I speak the word of blessing for all that we give, knowing that it multiplies and returns to us. And we receive it open-heartedly, and we are blessed and a blessing. Blessing the currency, blessing the promissory notes, blessing each and every individual that utters a prayer, that flashes a smile, that thinks a thought of love. That is the currency that we are giving, and that is what multiplies and returns to us. For all of that and more, I give thanks, and let it be so. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.